Welcome to the Travel Business Unpacked, where passion meets possibility. Here's your host, Meredith Calloway.
Hello, and welcome to the Travel Business Unpacked podcast. I am Meredith Calloway, your host and Chief Visionary Officer at Gifted Travel Network. And on today's episode, we have Team Travel Business University coming to you today. We have our rock star leaders at Travel Business University, which is the professional development umbrella at Gifted Travel Network. Joining us today are Amy Kaufman-Relihan, who is the Travel MBA Senior Mentor, and Amy Pearson-Jensen, the Travel Business University Mentor Team Manager. So basically what we have is within Travel Business University, we have two tracks and then a subset of the second track. So the two tracks are your Travel MBA program, which is for new to the industry people, as well as our Accelerate program, which is what our Travel MBA graduates move into, as well as all of our experienced advisors within the network get access to the Accelerate program. The third track, which is really a subset of the Accelerate track, is our Top Producers Club, which is a special benefit for the top 40 agencies at Gifted Travel Network. We don't necessarily have that represented today, but we have basically the two team leaders of Travel Business University here to talk all about professional development and its importance to the entrepreneurial journey. So welcome, ladies. Thank you so much for joining me today.
You're welcome. Thank you. I'm excited.
Thank you for having us.
So I am sitting in the middle of the two Amy's, and Amy Kaufman-Relihan has termed this the Amy sandwich. And so we did position me. So if you are watching this on video, you get to truly see an Amy sandwich right now on this video. All right. So Amy Kaufman-Relihan, why don't you start with, tell us about how you landed in this position. How did you get to be the Travel MBA Senior Mentor?
Well, that's a mystery for the agents. I have to be honest. I'm just kidding. So I started with Gifted Travel Network in the Travel MBA program about 9 years ago now. And I had my own business. Yeah. And so I went through the Travel MBA program as well. It looks a little different back then. But I also had my own business up until 2021. And in 2021, I started mentoring Travel MBA members at a very, very, very part-time basis. And it was under different leadership at the time. And when I sold my business, and I sold my business to a Travel MBA member, actually, a different leader came in, who is now the Vice President of Professional Development. Her name is Kristen. And Kristen asked me if I wouldn't mind kind of pitching in a little more than I had been and kind of helping her reinvent the MBA program. So I said, sure, Kristen, of course I will. And lo and behold, here I am. So that was 4 years ago that happened. And it gradually just led into me leading the program in conjunction with Kristen and Amy, PJ. The three of us are a very dynamic team. And the three of us together have really brought the Travel MBA program to where it is today. And we're still working on it, still building on it. So it's very exciting. So that's how I got here.
Yes, I give all three of you ladies so much credit for elevating the program. And we're now starting to see real results of what all of this hard work and focus and time and energy that you have put into the program. It really is remarkable. And, we had 70 advisors in 2024 cross the $1 million threshold in sales. And just under half of them are Travel MBA members. And a lot of the newbies to that list are coming from 2020, 21 cohorts. 22 cohorts even.
Yep.
And it's so exciting. And I
It is.
know that we're seeing so many more people get to that level because of all of your hard work and all of your contributions. So thank you both for, making it such a great program. Amy Pearson-Jensen, tell us how you landed in your position there.
All right. I'm happy to. So similar to Amy Kaufman Relihan, we actually came through the MBA program at just about the same time. So it's been 9-ish, 10-ish years, which seems hard to believe. But I went through the travel MBA program and had my business up until about 2021 as well. At that time, there was just some things going on personally in my life that I wanted to step back from my travel business. And I really went all in on I was going to say my other gig. I was also still working in the corporate marketing world. So doing a lot of brand marketing and communications. But as an aside, I also have a background in education. So those things combined, the background in education, lots of experience in corporate brand marketing, and then having owned my own travel agency for a number of years, was kind of the perfect combination for when this position opened up about a year and a half ago now. And so I was more than happy to leap back into the travel industry and back into my GTN family, which it truly is a family. And so I'm just really happy to be here. And that's really, in a nutshell, how I stepped back into, again, the travel industry and into this role specifically.
Awesome. So I'm going to dive in quickly, right? This is Unpacked, right? The Travel Business Unpacked. And what that means to me is let's go deep and let's unravel the layers and go deep. So one of the elephants in the room is the cost of the Travel MBA program, as well as the membership fee to join Gifted Travel Network is much higher than most host agencies. And the reason for that is it covers the cost of the hosting benefits, but a major hosting benefit is the professional access to a professional development coaching program, which is the Accelerate program. So I want to ask both of your perspectives. Amy Relihan, I'll ask you first. How important is it to invest in coaching for the entrepreneurial journey? What is your perspective on that?
So I would say it is the most important thing that you can possibly do. So what differentiates us in the market of host agencies is that we were an education company first before, and thanks to Meredith for that, because Meredith founded Gift.
Yes.
Before you and the founders ever decided to become a host agency, it's almost as if our foundation at GTN is all about education, and host agency just kind of became a next natural evolution. So that is a differentiator maker for us in the market. That's first thing. No company, no host agency out there, and I will stand on a mountain and say this as loud as I can. Nobody does what we do. And that's why there is a price tag attached to it, because we are truly elite in this. But we don't win all these awards because we're not good at it.
Mm-hmm.
So any other host agency people might be considering, or other avenues people might be considering, the major piece that is missing is the education part of it, because people have a different view of what it's really like on this side of booking travel. It is not the same as a consumer. It's completely different. It's far more complicated, and you need to make money while you're doing it, because you're not going to start a non-for-profit travel agency. That's just not how this goes. But you want to start making and monetizing your passion for travel and wanting to give this gift to other people. In order to do that, you must have someone help you every single step of the way. And what I see over and over and over again is that people truly don't have an understanding that you are now truly a business owner. and all the good and the challenging parts that come with that. And if you put it in kind of a buckets, you have the whole legality part of being a business owner. There's a whole bucket in there. Most people don't know how to start an LLC, let alone what an LLC is and how to get an employee identification number, et cetera. And then you have the whole part of how to book travel and how to create beautiful itineraries in the presentation, and then the client life cycles in there. And being a luxury travel host agency, we teach you all of that. You are never alone. You have me leading the pack in MBA. I have a team of mentors that are current travel agency owners, incredibly successful, all of which went through the Travel MBA program at different phases of the program. Two of them I've mentored and coached. So what we do and why it's so important, it excels the growth. It puts your business and your education into a whole nother level of success a heck of a lot quicker than you would trying to figure this monster out on your own, which is what most host agencies do. So that's my long speech, but that's exactly it. That's exactly why it's so important. And then when you leave MBA, if you're an MBA, you go over to the accelerate part. The education's still a part of it, but it now becomes more of a coaching program, which I'll let PJ talk about.
Right. Yes. Yes. So just to kind of mirror back what you said, the reason why there's such a big price tag investment in the program is because it is a holistic program. It's going to teach you how to book travel. It's going to teach you how to, deliver VIP service level to your client. And it's going to teach you the whole business of selling travel, not just how to sell travel, but the whole business of selling travel. And one of my favorite things to say is that we have architected this program to guide you on a path that leads to a destination that is 5 to 10 times the industry average. So when you join our program, you already increase your potential by a multiple of at least 5, if not 10.
Absolutely.
Of what is possible for you. All right. So APJ, tell us about the Accelerate program, because we definitely talk a lot about the Travel MBA program, but I think people know a lot less about what goes on in Accelerate. It's you're doing some incredible work in our Accelerate program. So tell us about it.
So as Amy Relihan said, the Accelerate program is really meant to do exactly that, accelerate your growth as a travel advisor. And so we always say that we like to meet you where you're at. So we have experienced advisors who are freshly out of the Travel MBA program, so relatively still new to the industry, all the way up through our top producers. And that is such a beautiful thing because community comes together on weekly coaching calls. We also have a really deep roster of the most brilliant mentors who are all top producers within the Gifted Travel Network community. And to Amy's point about accelerating growth and getting you along on your journey faster, it is such a special and rare thing to be able to hop on a coaching call and listen to more experienced advisors, your colleagues, talk about their wins and their struggles and some of the potholes or the wrong turns that you will then be able to avoid in your business or your entrepreneurial down of really what it looks like as far as the benefits go. It is weekly coaching calls with those brilliant mentors. It's twice weekly office hours where you're meeting one-on-one with those mentors. It's a dedicated inbox to reach out to when you have questions, whether that's about a booking that you're working on or a specific client maybe challenge that you encountered, or working with a partner, or just maybe something more business entrepreneur to run by somebody. We have strategic support calls. So that's a 30-minute one-on-one conversation where you're talking with a mentor. And those are all really special and I think rare benefits, again, when you're talking about accelerating your growth and having access to people who have a ton of experience and who are top producers and can really help you along on your journey. It's so easy as an advisor to feel like you're on your own little island at home, right? And you don't know what you don't know. We get that a lot from experienced advisors who come to us. I don't know what I don't know. Help me. And that, again, is the beauty of those group coach calls and having access to the community.
Yeah. I mean, so as Amy Kaufman said, we started on the foundation of an education company, the Global Institute for Travel Entrepreneurs, which I founded in 2011. And it is really, I was doing the coaching at that time, right? Because I had just left a travel business behind. And so I was still relevant. I still had the purview to be like a pretty accurate coach. But, we're now 13, 14 years later, and, we are all at the executive leadership level at Gifted Travel Network. We are coaches. Ultimately, we are fundamentally coaches, but we're not selling travel anymore. And I haven't sold travel in 13 or 14 years. And so I can only take my coaching so far. And that's why I think having people like these two Amy's who have gone through our travel MBA program, have had their own travel business, and now have a team of mentors as well that all are still actively involved in selling travel, be the ones that are coaching our members. I know I hear advisors say, I just wish I could get some more coaching. And then they talk, oh, yes, I get coaching at my host agency. And I know that the coaching that we're delivering here in our Travel Business University programs is real coaching, and not that the others aren't, but really the difference is our conversations are much more business oriented than I think anywhere else. Case in point, on the symposium, neither of you were there. Poor APJ wasn't able to make it at the last minute. And I know that you really missed not being there with us, but I think so. We hosted this river cruise symposium at the end of March, where we chartered an Avalon river cruise, and for 5 days we would do our exploring of the French countryside in the morning, and then coming back onto the ship for seminars and workshops and business conversations in the afternoons, and then ended the day with cocktails and dinner with our partners. It's heaven. It's blissful, but it's so important and so powerful. But at the end of the last day, so many of our partners were standing up and saying, I have never in my 25 years of experience in the travel industry witnessed the kind of business conversations that took place in this format over the last 3 days, 4 days. And that was such a compliment. And it's exactly what we're here for. And, in order to be a successful 7-figure travel entrepreneur, travel advisor, you have to embrace entrepreneurship. You have to be willing to put on your big girl pants and your big boy pants and set up an LLC and separate your bank, have a separate bank account, and, run your numbers and establish projections and track them and all of that stuff. And you guys are holding everybody accountable to doing these things and truly embracing entrepreneurship. Why don't it, I have a question, and whoever wants to take this first, let me know. What is one of your favorite, stories of making a real difference? Like where you saw someone come to you struggling with something, you gave them that advice, you stuck with them, and you saw them through it.
in your business. Just allow it all to come. He closed December with over $120,000 in bookings in just that 1 month. Each success looks different. It actually just fills my heart just talking about it, because each success looks different for each individual based on their definition of success. And that is the role, is to Aim's point, to meet them where they are and to help them identify that goal and to help them realize it and to show them what they're capable of doing. So anyway, so this individual graduates this month. She graduates in a couple weeks, and she is over the moon. And she had a full-time job, which she has now resigned from because she's being really successful, actually making a living at this. And she's just about 12 months in. So it's truly one of those, just another story that, I mean, you asked me, I can give you more, but that's the big one that came to mind.
Love that. Love it so much. As you know, I'm in the process of writing a book, The 7-Figure Travel Entrepreneur. And I do talk about how you have to embrace entrepreneurship. And one of the best ways to do that is to practice the 7 habits of highly successful travel entrepreneurs, which is a book I wrote in 2014. And the very first habit is stretch. And what you just described is the power of stretching. And also what you just described is demonstrated in that example is that we are much more likely, when we involve another person to stretch us, we're going to stretch ourselves much more. It also demonstrates how much more powerfully we can stretch ourselves when we involve another person. And that's that whole slinky story that I tell at the Jumpstart meeting. That slinky exercise of how when you try and stretch a slinky by yourself with your 2 hands, the farthest you can stretch it is your wingspan. But if you hand one end to another person and you guys stretch it as far as it goes, you're going to stretch that slinky 6 to 8 times more than you can yourself. And that's what you did. And that's what you do on a daily basis. And it's unbelievably powerful. And the reason why, because, what does Marianne Williamson say? Our greatest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our greatest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, darkness that frightens us most. And that's why we are afraid to stretch ourselves, or we won't stretch ourselves as much as somebody else will. So our travel MBA students get put on the Amy stretcher on a
Yes, they do.
All right, Amy Pearson-Jensen, now it's your turn to tell your story.
I remember the start of it is at conference last year. So our annual conference, the Gifted Travel Network annual conference, it was in September of last year. And I remember an advisor pulled me aside and she told me about where she was at in her business. And I had already known that because she's one of the advisors who taps into all of the coaching resources week after week after week in her business. She's at a point where she knew she needed to hire an assistant. She knew she needed to have a little bit tighter workflows and processes and getting that side of her business a little bit just straightened out tighter. So we talked through some next steps. And she was, again, on all of the calls that did inbox, almost as like an accountability a piece of the program, right? Just staying on track with the different things that she needed to do. But she's made tremendous progress. And this is so cool. So she emailed in late February of this year. She has hired an assistant, which she did right after conference. She got her workflows tightened, and her sales for the first 2 months of 2025 were more than all of 2024. And so I think that is just a really a testament to what our resources
Yes.
Sources, right, within Accelerate can help advisors do if they tap into them. And we say all the time, the most successful advisors are the ones who are utilizing their benefits and their resources. And she's just the most amazing human anyways. And so I was incredibly proud of her. And I know the sky is the limit when it comes to what she can
Yeah.
do.
That is such a common dilemma situation. Number one is not realizing it's time to hire. And what happens if you don't hire when you and you don't realize it's time to hire, and then you don't hire, is one of two things will happen. You'll either stall and you just will never progress past that certain point, or you will progress sales wise, but you will completely burn out. You will get to the point where you hit a brick wall and you just want to give up and run away because you can't handle it all. And you're much more prone to make a mistake. And the last thing you want to do is make a mistake when your clients' not livelihood, but their vacations and their vacation dollars are in your hands. And so, hiring is such an important step in that direction of scaling for growth. And when you're left to your own devices, you're not going to hire for the most part. It's so rare that we see people take the initiative of hire on their own without any kind of coaching, without seeing anybody else do it. And it's because that inner critic, that drunk monkey in your head is like, you don't have the cash flow to afford that. And that's so scary to commit to that cash flow liability. And how are you going to grow the business to support it? How, right? How is what comes up. And that's fear. And having a coach to hold you accountable, to walk you through it, to guide you through it, having a community where you can say, all right, I'm going to hire. This is the kind of position I'm hiring for. Has anybody done this before and would be willing to share their job posting? And people do it and they share it. And what you described, APJ, is so common. I've heard that story so many times where someone finally does it. They hire the right person and their sales soar. And they more than pay for it in that effort. And so the universe works in such interesting ways, and the path to where you want to go, you might have an ultimate goal in mind, but the path to it is never revealed all at once. And normally what happens and this is what I've experienced as an entrepreneur, is that the universe will show an opportunity to you, right? It's not going to be the next step automatically. The universe is going to reveal the next step, and it's almost always in the form of an opportunity. And you have the option to say yes to it, or you can say no. If you say yes, you progress, and then another opportunity will show up, which is the next step. And you just got to keep taking that next step and trusting. If you say no, what you're saying is, no, I don't really want this goal. And so the opportunities stop showing up because you're giving a mixed message. You've got this goal, but you're not actually following through on realizing that goal. And so having this kind of accountability, having this coaching, having this place where you can go and talk to someone about it, talk about those fears, have someone talk you through them, develop that muscle of courage, which is just taking action despite the fear. It's not having fear. It's just taking action, even though there is fear there. So, yeah, I think I made the point I was trying to make. So what are some of the most common blocks that you see entrepreneurs making as travel advisors?
It's really related to what you were saying, Meredith, around that fear, right? Making those big decisions around hiring. That can be really scary. And even after the decision is made, it's still scary and it's not always easy and there are struggles. However, it's so much scarier without that community and without those resources. And so I think fear is a major hang up for people. And it's also, quite honestly, just that lack of education, right? Because I think those two are so interconnected, right? Without knowing how to do it, then it becomes this big monster that feels insurmountable. And so, from my perspective in Accelerate, I think that's what we encounter a lot is it's fear, but then that lack of education. Do I have enough money to hire somebody? How does that work? What steps do I need to take legally? So both of those things combined.
Yeah. Actually, that's spot on. And Amy Relihan, I'm going to actually ask you specifically how often and what do you do about it? How often does a lack of self-worth or a doubt in self show up for you in the Travel MBA program?
Daily, every
Yes.
day. And it starts on day one. Because what they lack or what they feel they lack is the confidence to do the job, because big common and a big common misconception is that I can't sell a destination because I haven't been there. I can't sell travel because I don't have a website yet. I can't sell travel because I don't have my LLC or a business name yet. All of that is false, 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 false. The minute you walk in and shake my hand on the very first day of Jumpstart, you can start selling travel. And the reason you can start selling travel is not only do you have me and a team of mentors that are going to help you and shepherd you every step of the way, you also have an army of 400 GTN advisors and a 30-person staff at GTN that nobody wants you to fail. Nobody will let you fail. We're only here to help and support. So fear is a constant, especially in the first year. Now, what I will say is that the fear starts to dissipate at about the 8-month mark. That's where I see the confidence of an MBA member really start to increase. They start needing me less, which is always a goal. It's kind of like a parent. You can't regret the fact you taught them to leave the nest, right? And then feel bad about it. So they start to truly just start doing it. And they're successful and they're selling travel and they're meeting all their life's goals and their dreams and they're getting the financial freedom and flexibility in their schedule. And then now they can go travel and see places. So it's a constant, and I don't think it ever goes away. I think fear is just a constant in people's life. You just get really, really, really good at handling it and identifying it and having tools to overcome it. And to Amy's point about the community here, after I sold my business, I never wanted to leave GTN or my community. I have made lifelong friends here. And Amy and you, I count as one of those. And so this role, I believe my journey through travel and owning my own business is what led me where I am today. I'm absolutely convinced of it, that this was my journey to get me to here to help other people. So fear is just part of our daily life, and you just develop tools to handle it.
Yeah, I love that. Now, one of the big, your roles are very, very similar, even though you're coaching people at different points in the journey. But one of the big differences is that Amy Kaufman-Relihan is coaching people to kind of graduate, right? Get to the next phase. Amy Pearson-Jensen, we believe that you should have access to coaching and professional development for the entire journey, and that, we don't want the university to ever end. Just like when you go to college, you graduate. We don't want you to graduate from Travel Business University. There is no such thing. So we're getting close to the end of the 45 minutes. And so I'm going to give my last question, which is my favorite closing question, which is, we work in the greatest industry in the world, right? And it's definitely a heart-based decision, not a head-based decision. But what's amazing is that, even though we don't have a solopreneur travel advisory business ourselves, we are still getting to, be involved in a career that we love, but also a life that we love. So what can you think of a pinch me, oh my God, I can't believe I get to do this moment? That is one of your favorite moments in your travel industry career.
So I would say that's really
Go to the
hard.
travel advisor. Pick a travel
Okay.
advisor.
All right. So I'm
Narrow
going
it
to pick
down.
a travel advisor one so just so everybody knows, and this is kind of a cool thing about Amy and I, is we both did romance travel. So everybody kind of understands. So Amy and I were all about love. We love love. I still do to this very day. It's still my favorite emotion. And so everything I did was all based around love. My pinch me, oh my God moment that I get to do was when I had a couple that had been married for, I believe it was like 35 years, and they had grandchildren and all the things, and they wanted to have a vow renewal. And they blessed me with being their travel advisor that built this gorgeous vow renewal with their whole entire family, kids, grandkids, in-laws, everybody came to this. And it truly was one of those moments like, holy cow, you talk about a celebration of lifelong love. That's amazing. And this couple was just the cutest couple ever. They were still madly in love with one another, and they bickered, but that's marriage. And but it was perfect in every way. So this was pre-pandemic, clearly, and it was one of those moments, holy cow, my heart just sung, and I didn't mind working like a dog to get all those people to their destination, to make sure they had everything. And then, they ended up inviting me. I didn't go, but they did invite me to as a member of their guest list. And I was like, I'd love to, but I couldn't do it. Anyway, so it was very, very sweet. So that was one of the, I could go on about others, but that's the first one that came to my mind.
I love that. And you know what I love about it is it shows like your big, massive heart, because most of the time when I ask that question, people talk about a travel experience that they had. And you talk about a travel experience that you gave, and that's just, I love that. So beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, it's the first thing that came to my mind.
I love it. Amy Pearson-Jensen, how about you?
Yeah, I love that too, Amy Kaufman, Relihan. That's beautiful. Mine is, I'm taking it to the other end of the love spectrum. So mine is about honeymooners. And the couple had gotten married. I live in the Midwest, so they had gotten married in the summer, wanted to wait 9 months, not quite 9 months, like 6, 7 months to honeymoon in the winter, right? So that they could leave the cold and the snow. So anyways, they were going to Hawaii, and I had gotten to know this couple really well during the consultation process. And I had asked them about their wedding and their first dance song. And so they had told me all about it. And it was a really special moment, really special song for their relationship. And I had a great relationship with the transfer company that I was using in Hawaii for them to get picked up from the airport. And so when the couple got into their vehicle, guess what song was playing? Their first dance song. And the pain, this really special moment that I was able to curate for them. But how stinking cool is that? How fun that we get to give, or we, when we were advisors, got to give a couple that memory and that experience. Yeah. And it just gives me all the feels still to think about it, because it's so cool. It's so fun. And it's rare, I think, to be able to create those kinds of memories for people.
Yeah. That is, like I said, that made me choke up just hearing you tell that story. Like I can totally picture them getting into the car and then the song starting to play and just be like, oh my gosh.
Can you imagine? That's awesome.
So amazing. So cool. Well, I love you guys. I think you are both incredible rock stars, MVPs at GTN, because you have helped so many people, um, and contributed to them building a business and a life that they love around a passion for travel. So thank you both for joining today. And I'm going to have you back on the podcast or some other conversations, because we just didn't get to enough today. I could go on forever, but I know everybody listening probably needs a break. All right. Well, thank you both so much.
Thank you, Meredith.
See you.
Thank you, Mer.
All right. Thanks for listening to the Travel Business Unpacked podcast, where we dive deep into the exciting world of travel entrepreneurship. If you're looking for more, we have some great resources for both aspiring travel entrepreneurs and existing travel advisors. Aspiring travel entrepreneurs, if you're thinking about turning your love for travel into a profitable business and enviable life, take our Travel Entrepreneurial Suitability Score quiz. It's fun and insightful. Just go to travelmba.giftedtravelnetwork.com. Find out if you're ready to professionalize your passion for travel. Current travel advisors. If you've been selling travel but haven't been able to grow your sales beyond $200,000 in a 12-month window of time, our quiz can help there too. Again, you can find that at travelmba.giftedtravelnetwork.com. Advisors looking for a change. If you're seeking an elevated hosting experience for the luxury travel advisor, check us out at giftedtravelnetwork.com. We'd love to chat with you. And with that, we wrap up today's journey. We hope we inspired you today, or at a minimum, put a smile on your face.